Hey everyone, it's Krista, and so we're here. Let's see, does mic saturate? I'm getting louder, louder, louder. It's where's my mic? Is it here? No, no. Okay, let's get by the computer. First time kind of on this platform, and are we saturating over here? No, maybe not. Okay, so we'll see. All right. I was gonna go live on my phone because I got my 50 subscribers finally, but no, I still can't. This is Billie Jean, and I guess I should just stand behind the camera and try to look. So, big old cab over. We've got a 21-foot rollback bed, and yeah. So this crazy setup, I just have all kinds of silliness. We have an Ethernet to USB-C connector. We have a USB 3 extension cord going up to your camera. And then for the wireless mic, it wants a USB-C receiver. So I have a C to A um, converter, but then it's too wide to fit in there. So we put it on an extension cord. All right. So that's sort of the start of all this. And let's see, put that over there. Spin this around. Okay. What I want to do to start the talk is I'm going to fire up Billie Jean, and we're going to tilt the bed up so that you can see the stuff underneath, and then we'll tip the cab so you can see the engine and all that. So let's go in the cab. And I turn my computer so maybe I can see something. Yeah, I was really hoping to do this on mobile so I could watch the screen, but alas, I cannot. All right, so the CF500, it's a European kind of design, or European inspired design. Is made in Brazil, but a lot of things are very European. The original turnstalk is missing. It was broken off, and they put on this American kind of turn signal for trucks. This was done. When I say they put on, I'm talking about people in Kentucky, probably. This truck was made in '86 and imported to Kentucky. I know that a car lot or something car like bought it first, and then it was um, owned by a city in Kentucky, and then it went to the salvage yard where I bought it from. So this was their yard truck for at least a decade, maybe more. Okay, so they added the horn button because the horn used to be, I think, a button you pushed on the end of the turn signal. Gauges are kind of normal. To turn the lights on, you just turn that. She's pretty beat up in here. Like, the vents are kind of trashed. It has AC. I don't think it, well, I know it doesn't work, but the buttons do things. I've added a shut off. So this is a 10-foot long choke cable. And so I pull on that and it closes the lever for fuel. Now, the steering column is all taken apart for a few reasons. One of them is that they broke off the lever that does windshield wipers. So right now the windshield wipers are stuck on intermittent. So to make them work, I put this on. I don't know what the story with high-low beam was. I don't think it was originally this switch, but it doesn't really work and it gets really freaking hot. So I need to change that. And then all of this is to rewire the switch, the turn signal switch. So the little terminal block is mine. The turn signal didn't work with LEDs, so I bought this thing. So this is kind of like my interim solution. We have a throttle, or I guess an idle advance. And then down there is the PTO switch right here. It's air operated. And then this is the parking brake. Obviously the knob fell off and I don't know what they did. Okay. Not much works up here. And then also you have to push in on the connector for the switch to do anything when you turn it. But I have to go turn the battery on. So we'll talk about that later, but I forgot to do it before I started because I was so involved in trying to make this work. Okay, let's go turn the battery on. It's on the other side, hanging off of the starter. I have the batteries connected to the starter, and then I have a switch disconnect between that post on the starter and the rest of the truck. The truck can go overnight without draining, but I think if I leave it forever, it will drain the batteries. All right, I think I'm going to just point you at the smoke cloud. All right, key forward. We have power. I did drive her yesterday. A little bit of throttle. I'm going to clutch in and throw the PTO on. And you heard it kind of definitely in neutral. Okay, you see all the smoke. Oh, I need to take these things that are in the cab and put them forward or on the floor or something, because if not, they're going to fall forward and everything that's right behind the shifter ends up falling into the shifter and top of the engine. All right, so, okay. I think I have made the cab safe for tilting for when we get there. So when you buy a Ford CF7000, what you're getting is, the power system, the cab, the frame, the transmission there, sort of. It's kind of hard to see because I'm looking at the screen over there and you're here and whatever. I don't know if these rails were here. You have the 2 air tanks. Obviously, that one took a hit. These toolboxes, I'm pretty sure, were not part of buying the truck. I think these were added. Of course, you're going to get the rear axle, springs, frame. The cross piece at the end, I'm sure, was there. I don't know about anything else. It says it's a tilt. I doubt these cylinders came with the truck. I just don't know, but hard to say here. These are the plates they pivot from. So they're bolted here, welded, and then there's a cross piece, and then it goes through the bottom of those 2 cylinders. I just don't know if these are original from Brazil or not. I kind of don't think so, because I don't see Brazil using galvanized pipes for the hydraulics. Now we're going to go kind of to the other side of the truck. And to me, that's the more important stuff-ish. So how are we going to do this? We're going to set you up. We're going to untangle your cord. So kind of like this might not be my end result of trying to talk about Billie Jean, but at the very least, this will be a good first run so I know what I'm getting into for the next time. Now I'm going to move the computer to the top of one of these toolboxes so I have more reach to get to you and have fun with you. Okay, you're there. I'm going to walk around now to the other side where you're looking, hopefully. Whew, so far so good. Do I see anyone commenting? I don't think so, but that's fine. Okay. Oh, it's got that zoomy, inny, outy crap I can't stand. Oh, well. So let's grab you. So as you can see, you are that computer right there, but your camera is attached to me. So you're sitting on that toolbox. Kind of like the first big thing with Billie Jean was figuring out the batteries. Originally, they were both pointing positive terminal in. And when we drove to Kentucky and showed up to buy her, they had a Dodge out there that they were trying to jump and charge her batteries. And it was a little sucky because that shows that they didn't care at all and they weren't prepared or anything. So one of the first things I had to do was replace the starter, and I replaced the battery cables because the original ones were a little green at the ends. And I made all those. There's a video on the Book of Facing where I talk about that. All right, so kind of the next important thing is we're going to tilt the cab. I'll tell you what I do. So you're supposed to I can't remember. I think you pull on this, but in order for pulling on this to work, I have to reach in and push on that thing in there, and then it unlatches the cab. So let's put you on the fuel tank. Perfect, actually. You're still there, you're safe, okay. So what did I say? Pull on this and push on that. Is it the other way around? Oh, it is. You push on the bottom knob and you pull on the top one. Okay. And it has a safety pass center of latch thing there. So kind of like the first thing you're going to need to learn on, especially a mechanical diesel, is the fuel system and how to get going again when you break down on the side of the road. So it had a not separator here. I don't know what was there originally. It was scary. It didn't really work, and it left us stranded a few times. But the original part was bolted here, and it was rusted and broken out. So I bought this, and I just kind of used that brace there to locate this setup such that the hose was happy. So that was the first thing, is we had to kind of like get the separator done. Definitely you need to know about these filters. They are BF790s, and I've changed them, I think, 5 times. And now we have pretty good reliability. Oh, my little bolt fell. I probably didn't tighten those. Huh, that's fine. So this is your mechanical fuel pump. I don't know what style it is. I just don't know. I know it's mechanical. I know it's Bosch. I don't know if it's A, P, C, any whatever. I don't know any other gobbledygooks. I do know that to get your prime back, you unscrew this little knob, and you unscrew and unscrew, and then it doesn't thread anymore. And then you pump it up and down, and then if there's air in the system, it's going to pump up and down with like no force whatsoever. And then all of a sudden it'll just stop. You're good. That's when that's ready. And so like right away, I realized we couldn't shut off the truck because this is the shut off solenoid. It's supposed to have been set up so that, let me see if I can get this angle right. I think so. It's hard to see from the monitor. So this lever here is your shut off. So I think what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to have a spring pulling it up or back or something, and then the solenoid is what you turn on, and it pulls forward and it pulls down and it pulls the fuel on. So this is the on-off switch for the fuel. And then the throttle's over there. So all this had been hookified a few times, and hey, my truck runs now, so hey, that's what we got. So kind of like, to me, the first thing you need to do if you get one of these trucks is probably show up with new fuel filters, a new separator if there is one, at the very least, because if it's been sitting and if it hasn't something where you can just like, yeah, I can drive all day, you know, old vehicle status, you're going to suck on that. So these white wires go to the fuel shut off. Let's see, I'll show you the starter. So I took the starter out. Kind of like first thing, she really didn't want to start. Can you see my hand? You can see my hand. Okay. There's those. So that's the starter in there. The way she was acting when we picked her up was you kept having to click the switch, and it might click, and then it might catch. And then if it catch, maybe not, it would turn it over. So we drove from Kentucky trying to not shut off the truck. We shut it off twice, and we made it home. That's good. So it was $300. They rebuilt our starter. They were rather shocked when I showed up and said, hey, it's a blah, blah, blah starter. It's this many teeth, this direction, and blah, blah, blah. Like, they were like, oh. I was like, yeah, I read about it. They said that the casing was internally shorted, and that was it. Needed kind of a full rebuild. So then I got 2-aught cables. You can probably get away with 1-aught. I just kind of like, you can never have enough battery cable in my book. And then I just made the ends. I bought all that crap, and I have a hydraulic crimping tool that I used. This is one of the battery switches on that Jungle website. So it's on. and off. I just don't trust it to have 2 watt coming in and out. See if I can get you in here. So I have no idea what this bracket is. Okay. So I run it to the post, and then I made a short cable that comes into the other side of this switch. And then these 2 wires here were also on that post, the positive post. So this separates the truck from the batteries. One of the first things I dealt with was an incredible exhaust leak from the turbo. So you see how it looks silver and kind of freshly rusted? Well, a local shop welded on those patches. And then when I took this off, the output ring of the turbo itself is shrunken down from rust. So probably it needs a new turbo. Probably, pretty much, I'm definitely sure. Then you see, crap, I need to angle you. You see the shifter, and it didn't have a wire coming off of it, but it does have a switch for high-low. So I took a giant guess, and with the some of the service manuals, I guess this was the cable that it was supposed to go to. It had been sheared off by its base plate and the cab closing on it. I have done nothing with any of the connections, the injectors. I haven't even checked if bolts are tight. I've done nothing up here at all. And I have not gone through the cooling system. All I did was make sure it had coolant in it, which it does right here. Kind of next up on my list is to let this Harley go by. So kind of coming up on the list is the typical undo every connection carefully, take apart all the, just try to replace the hoses maybe. And if not replace them, at least make sure things are kind of happy and redoing. There's reconditioning where everything fits. Get the rust off the pipes. Just make sure the rubber's okay. If you're allowed to, maybe we'll cut it back maybe. So yeah, I haven't done anything with the cooling, fueling, or valve cover, just up to the filters. I have taken the lid off the transmission because we discovered fourth gear would pop out upon deceleration. And so let me see where I can stand. Okay, I can stand here. Now, can I put you in to see? What are we looking at? Okay, there's my hand. All right, this thing that I've painted pink is the PTO. You can see it has silver, and there's a silver cover on the front. The PTO, crap, I need to get a better view. Can you see my finger? Okay, there's a little silver nub in the middle, and that's actually the plunger shaft to slide the shift fork and engage the PTO. On the other end is air and a piston, and then so this wire is the signal wire, but when you throw the lever in the front, it applies air, shoves the piston forward, and engages the gear. It was leaking pretty badly right along this shaft. There's a seal that presses in. And so I kind of took all that stuff apart, and then one of the shift fork bushings from inside the shift forks in the transmission, one of those pads or bushings had fallen into the PTO. In fact, one or two, I forget. There were some stuff inside the PTO that didn't belong. The gear was a little chunk. So there's some videos on that where I took it apart. So everything I take apart, I try to clean the best I can, and then I paint it. And so I also reconditioned the shifter. This is called a remote control input, this blue thing. Normally you would have the stick coming right out of this that you manipulate directly in your cab, so you would have your shifter come straight down. Instead, there's a shaft with blades, and that handles the shifting. So the transmission definitely came from Brazil. It says so. It's a Clark CL455. It's a 5-speed with soft fourth. I do not know if the Chelsea PTO, that's the pink thing, I don't know if that came from Brazil or not. And then behind it is a Muncie hydraulic pump. That right there. Down here. Muncie hydraulic pump with the hoses. That sucker is heavy. Oh my gosh. So it was leaking hydraulic fluid pretty badly at the junction of the pump and the drive. So I ended up putting a gasket in there and using crush washers. I did not rebuild the pump because I'm a bit afraid to take those giant hoses apart. I don't know if I'm going to drain, 20, 30 gallons of hydraulic oil. And I'm just not ready to go there yet. So the next kind of thing touching all this was the exhaust system used to run through here up next to the transmission, right up against it. So the PTO was on this side, the exhaust was on the other. But the drain for the transmission see, yes. So this is the fill up here where you can reach, but the next knob down there is the drain, which is like 1-inch clearance to the PTO pump. So no one had ever changed the oil in the transmission. When I got Billie Jean, the transmission had chocolate milk in it. All right, we're going to set you up in the middle and I'm going to walk around again. How did I do this before? I think I shoved you through the hydraulic cables or hydraulic hoses. There we go. Perfect. Okay, I'm walking around. We're walking. I haven't done anything with the belts other than yank on them a little bit to see if they're still tight or not, because they make noise. Okay, I need to move these things so I can stand there. Oh, my whatchamajig fell down. My receiver for the mic, but I guess we're okay. We'll check in. I don't see any chat. Nobody's watching. Good show. Okay. What do you see? Oh, you see kind of almost everything. Perfect. Okay. So this is the shifter. This big giant stick, it goes up to the shift lever. And you see it's moving the input in and out. I don't know how much people were monkeying with this stuff, but a couple of these bolts were stripped on the input, and the shifter itself here originally had, I think, a ball and socket. Also, it was located further down at the end, and it was completely worn out and shoddy and very upset. It was just really sloppy and bad. I found online the threads in the end of this are 14 millimeter by 1.5, I think. So I found this Heim joint, and then the rest of this stuff are parts I bought at like Ace Hardware. I forget what bolt I used. I think it was either a 14 or 9/16. I forget how I put all this together. But I got the bolt right so that it would go through. I drilled and tapped the input arm. I mean, obviously it was loose, so I just did it on the mill. And then I turned down a couple bronze bushings to fit. So this ended up really shortening the throw, which is good because this thing's got an epic long throw. It's just crazy. And then, so I'll show you the exhaust I did. So another kind of problem we were having as well. So this is the exhaust, the silver thing I'm touching. Can I move you closer? Yeah, sure, why not? That's the exhaust. The shifter was hitting the tightening screw on that clamp. So that was what was causing this rust. That might have led to them ruining fourth gear to begin with. Now fourth gear jumps out whenever there's a load, forward or backwards. There are a few different ways the oil filters are arranged on these. You've got this huge mongoloid giant one, or you've got two smaller ones. Oh, I squished that. This is part of the extension cord that they were using to power the lights on the bed. Yeah, so that was not working ever. So anyway, the downpipe goes down, and then it ends with the silver over here. So then there was the muffler that went along next to the transmission. Now what I'm doing is I'm trying to change this so I can show you a little better view. Let's turn off some of your feet. So that pink thing is the left side block off plate for the PTO, because the PTO can go on either side. But the exhaust muffler was running through here, and I was worried it might be plugging a little bit, so I ended up getting two elbows. I think they're 3.5 inch. So I have a smaller elbow attached up here, and then I just rigged this crap hanger off of the clamp to the bigger elbow, and it just sort of points half down at the road. And surprisingly, the truck is not hideously loud. Hydraulic clutch. Now let's talk about the rear end. Billie Jean's not mine. We're still family friendly around here, maybe. Okay, we're going back and back and back and back. So it's handy being able to lift the bed because then you can be chilling out in here looking at stuffs. Okay, so here's the splitter. It is an electric servo. I took it apart, and inside this cover, there's a circuit board, and the 1 ohm resistor was broken. So I bought a new 1 ohm resistor for $1, and that completely fixed it. The splitter worked after that. The manuals say the rear end is like a Rockwell 20,000 pound 2-speed. Do I have the ratios? Oh, they're right here. I think, are they upside down? Are they right side up? 4.88, 6.80. Yeah, I think that's what I think is a 488 and a 680. The pinion was loose before, like I could move it and it would move up and down. And so I took the diff housing, or the third member, I took it out and took it to Kern Trucks, and they rebuilt it for me. This was really heavy. You know, it's worth just having your truck towed and have them do it all, because they probably have the right tools. But instead, I took like a month to get it out, support it, break the floor a few times, hopefully not break me. I haven't yet gone through the brakes. No, it's my hair. The brakes, and there's another brake piece back there on the center. Haven't gone through those at all. Sorry. I guess that's about it for here. Now, can you reach? No, you can't reach. So we're going to set you down, and then I'm going to move the computer to this toolbox. Don't fall. Okay, we've moved you back a lot. Your little light's still green on your microphone. I still see dots. Okay. So this rear axle has, so this is the axle stub. You have nuts. These are, I think, 5/8 fine pitch nuts onto cone-shaped washers. So you're supposed to undo all them, and then the manual says you tap this lightly in the middle, and then the washers will undo. You need to go get a air hammer and probably use that on the cones, or there's a cone grabber tool on that Jungle website you can use. So these pull out either side. Oil falls out if you don't buy the little tray, and then that's how you pull the third member or pumpkin or whatever you want to call it, the diff out of the middle. You have to pull these out first. Obviously, I touched it, so it got new hardware, and I painted it pink. My local used truck tire place had 4 of these almost new Michelins, and they sold us these 4 for $720. because they are 275 80R to 22.5s, and that raises the rear up like an inch and a half, 2 inches. So people can't go to the loading dock. So they don't like these tires, and that's why they sold them to me for cheap. Okay. Now, I think this here stuff was done in America. It's all like plumbing crap. It's put together poorly, and it's all made in America. I don't see this being OEM. Plus, while that is the pivot, let me see. Can you see it better if I move you in here? What are we looking at? Okay, that is the pivot. And then they chopped past it with like a torch. So I just don't see that being original. I don't know what was back here originally, so you can't, like anything behind the suspension, I can't say if it's original from Brazil or if it's Kentucky. So they welded this tray, they bolted these down. Oof. And nothing too much special there. Now, I bought these two pairs of taillights. Actually, these are Halo. You buy them one at a time on Amazon, or I mean the Jungle website. And then I'm just going to get down here and lay on the ground. Up over there is kind of a box for trailers, sort of. It has like 7 posts. And I just wired those lights into that. And I kind of terminated the truck's wiring there. So this truck originally did not integrate the brake lights and turn signals. So you had to have a separate pair of lamps for turning versus braking. So that turn signal switch, that's the truck style one, those are they have the ability to have like a trailer brake converter, meaning it has 4 outputs for the turn signals. So you can have it to where brake input routes to the turn signals. So on this side, I just drilled and bolted the angle bracket for the tail light to where the hydraulics are. On the far side, way back over there, it's just a piece of aluminum that adapts the flat part of the frame thing to my lights. Nothing special. But definitely you're going to have to like dig around those wires in the back and figure that out. Oof, we're getting up. Okay. Now I think we're gonna move you again to the front toolbox. Hopefully it doesn't start raining. Okay, we're still live. Oh, we can't do that with the power cord. This side. Careful. Okay. So where's your cord? Oh, geez. We're all twisted up now. Well, we'll just have to deal. Can we reach what I want to do? Yes, I think we can. So we're just going to set you there on the engine. We're going to pull up as much as your cord as we can get. What are you staring at? Oh, that's under the cab. Okay. I mean, it's kind of funny I'm yelling at you for what you're staring at when I put you there, but that's okay. We're still kind of monkeying around with getting you extra wires. Now I'm going to go around and sit on the front wheel. So when you have a cab over, you're going to spend a lot of time up here wedging your leg in between, there you go, between the footstep and the wheel. I'm actually sitting on the tire. Oof. Oh, there's an air leak. Imagine that. Okay. So you've got the dipstick and the filler. The filler comes out further than the dipstick. I saw one of these trucks and the filler and dipstick were on the other side with the coolant tank. So that was pretty crazy. Billie Jean kind of has stopped using oil over time, but obviously she's still got pretty active leaks. I mean, this is all pretty wet. You've got the air compressor, the AC pump. So like say what it is, and I have to go look at the computer to see what's going on. You have the power steering reservoir. There's the gearbox for it. And of course, I got my feet on the control arm. The power steering pump is under your cabling here. The power steering pump is under that leaf. It bolts to the timing cover, and the service says it's possible for it to leak power steering fluid into the engine. I know that it has a pretty bad power steering leak, but I think it's from the reservoir because it's all super wet right here and down there on the suspension. And then, of course, you have the shifter and the high-low range. When we bought it, it was definitely in low range. And like I said, the wires were broken, so it wasn't changing or nothing. Obviously, radiator, spaghetti mess. What else is going on here? Oh, there's another view of the turbo and its exhaust leak. So all the black is fresh exhaust leak because I painted this 1 year ago. This still has a little bit of warmth. I bet we've got pretty serious issues with the seals. It wouldn't surprise me if exhaust was getting into the inlet side maybe, or oil was leaking. I don't know why she smokes that bad, but she doesn't really have good power, and definitely everything's crusty and rusty inside. More of that patch job. That was like the first repair was getting the filters. Ooh, what is that? BT343 Baldwin 343. blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is the spring for the cab tilt. This gets pushed down so they're just torsion. And now I'm going to climb back out. So there you see front tire. I can squeeze my almost not skinny enough shins through. The air intake is that up there. And the bellows smacks down onto this. And it goes down to the filter. I did change the filter housing. These screws are metric. I just can't tell if those are 6x1 or 8x125 anymore. I've been just thoroughly ruined by standard hardware. I know that they're metric. I think they're 8x125. So what else we got? What else we got? This is the tack signal. Tack doesn't work. This is the reverse. I don't know if it works or not. Oh, speedometer is here. It doesn't work. It worked once. I bet I just need new guts for the cable and it'll be fine. Part of the speedometer, which is interesting, is that it's taken off the transmission, but you have a 2-speed rear end. So when you throw the lever, there's actually something in the speedometer housing itself that clicks and switches to change the indicated speed between high and low. All right, I'm going to go drop the cab. So like I said, this arm over here has the past, you go past the pivot and it'll lock. So then I just kind of like go all in on pulling it down. The safety catch is here, and then both of the latches finish the job when you hit bumps. Now, it would be great if we could somehow get y'all to the other side. Crap, can we? I'm not sure. Maybe that'll have to be later when I can actually do it on my dang phone. The fuse block is on the other side. I'm playing with my computer right now so I can have it close to us. All right, you're twisted in with power cord and oh gosh, what am I doing to you guys' cord? Wow, that's just, we're gonna have to stop caring. Yeah, total spaghetti mess. Sorry. Okay, so I did find the service book for this truck. So let's see if there's a couple pages of interest. They explain the door sticker. I mean, you're only gonna have, what is this code? I don't think this is gonna change at all for any of our trucks. I just think they're all Brazil. They're all the same wheelbase. They all say H70. So kind of like this whole thing doesn't matter. Okay, so this side says H70 means CF7000. So you have H60, 70, 81, and H85. It has the tare weight of 10,300 pounds. So that's without, that might be without the PTO or the bed or anything, because she weighs 17,800. The wheelbase in our case is 189. The body code, interesting. So the trim is cloth and vinyl bucket. Code 8 means chassis cab. That's the only one you get. And the 1 means black with red laser stripe. Standard. Black vinyl is optional. Our door label isn't very legible. So I think ours is a CR. I know it's a 5-speed manual. But I don't know what's in there. It's trying to say wide ratio, but I think I've got soft fourth based on what I've read somewhere else. 3HG axle. Wait, that's front axle, 12,000. Yeah, front axle's 12,000 pounds. 3H is the rear axle code. That'll be here. Rockwell RS 21230, 21,000 pound, 2-speed. Ratios 488 and 680. The rest of this book is a little weird because they have these section numbers, and I had to scour like a few different PDFs. If you, I need to figure out how to get you to comment and talk to me like via email, so I'll figure that out. Maybe I'll make a Gmail just for the channel so y'all can email. Because I don't want you to have to put your email in the comments for me to email you offline. But I can share the PDF or I can send a link to it. Let me see if I have any other pages that look fascinating. Oh, here is a the 1523-1 is for the Rockwell. And here's the speedometer adapter. So it has a few wire colors and a few different whatevers, but even here it shows something different for the switch. That's the same. It's talking about the servo. This is more about the pinion, or not the pinion, but the diff and the housing. And the numbers are just insane. 740 to 920 foot-pounds. I don't doubt it because I had to use a 3/4-inch air gun. They just talk about all the different stuff. I ended up having somebody else rebuild it. You know, I might be an engineer and I might be smart and a pretty accomplished technician, but that crap's all voodoo and huge torque values and a little bit of interpretive arts on the oh, I lost a page. I took that piece of paper out. Okay. I think I had this. Crap. I had it on the Rockwell 1523. Oh, here I guess. Oh, 23 here. So this group 15 is its whole separate service book, and I could have just printed out 1523-1 for Billie Jean and the CF. So all this other crap you don't care about. Apparently I have exciting things in here too. Okay, this is the Ford 6.6 and 7.8 diesel engines. And that's just because I had all of these things there. So as far as I can tell, these values are all correct. You need the SCA for the cooling system, so you need that thing to prevent the cavitation or something. 16 quarts of oil, verified. 27.5 quarts of cooling, sure, we'll test that when we spill it. It says the CL455 has 4.5 liters. I totally believe that. Rear axle says 18 quarts, so that's 4.5 gallons. Is that right? Yeah. No, it's well past that. Don't worry. 40-gallon fuel tank is correct. So the Belden part number on the oil filter is BT343 and the fuel is BF790. I don't even know what this rocker cover vent filter is because that's a bunch of crap. All right, so we didn't go much into the cab. I didn't show you the fuse block. The fuse block is at the passenger feet, and it, just go through those and pull them all out one at a time. The 30 amp was melty. That was what runs the splitter, and it explains why it's melty. If the cab smashed the wires and shorted them, sure, okay. So I fixed those, and the 2-speed rear end works. I need to go through and find all of their extension cord wiring they tried to use for the auxiliary lights on the bed, because I'm still having issues with trying to blow fuses when I use the brakes or the lights. And I put a circuit breaker in on those. Yeah. Can I stretch you over and show you the front real quick? We'll talk about that. Oh my gosh, all your wires are just so mad. Okay. So this is the hood right here. It has 2 half-turn fasteners, and then this piece pivots up. The brake light switches are right behind here. In fact, that's probably worth talking. So let me go ahead and reopen your feet. Probably under the hood and the brakes might deserve their own whole separate freaking video, but we'll see. I keep my O'Reilly cheap screwdriver in here. Okay, so here's your reservoir. Oh, that's low. For the clutch, this is the air brake pedal assembly. These here are the, I want to say, low pressure electrical switches for the brakes. And then the black with red stripe is the brake light 12 volts. So there's two of them. They're in parallel. I added this wire to go up to the turn signal to make it so that that turn signal switch can also throw the brakes. I have no idea about most of the magic. I know that the heater, the fan, the blower doesn't work. Should we ever figure out windshield wipers, there's that. The fluid. The wiper itself does work, so that's pretty cool. This is the speedometer cable. Now down here, this pivoty thing is the throttle. And I had to kind of redo its connection a little bit. The grill is held on by a bunch of Zeus fasteners. So they're half turn or quarter turn. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think. So there's like one underneath, one in the middle, and then 4 across the top. Then this just comes off. There's not a whole lot behind there unless you're messing with the throttle cable. Yeah, I think that might be it for today. Oh, yeah. Now that I think about it. I did have to take this off so that I could fix the socket for the turn signal. So the socket, the contacts are riveted and they come loose, so I soldered them. So the contacts inside are the little blades that engage on the nubs on the bottom of the 1157 bulbs. Those little, where they attached and went through to the back where the connections came in, that was just riveted, and those had come loose and failed. They were intermittent. And that sucked a lot of balls. But I pulled these off. There's a video of me repairing them on the channel. These are the original mirrors. So if you have something that looks American, it's not the original mirrors. This is not the original marker light. They're cute little slender things. And then the clearance lights, I was able to get a couple from a salvage yard. So those are the original style clearance lights. There's a base, and then it has the top cap and then the housing, the lens. The signal lamp is not original and doesn't work. Anyhow, y'all, thanks so much. Get some nifty little, there we go. Woo! Cargo 7000. Woohoo! I hope this helps. I'm gonna watch it. Give me feedback. Tell me what's up. Tell me what you think. Just be polite. I've only been doing videos like 10 years, but I don't do the editing. I don't do big production. I just try to get the information across, and that's what I care about. Sharing knowledge, sharing information. Oh, hey, check it out. This thing doesn't even freaking touch. Where am I? There I am. My little bellows thingy is... I'm going to have to figure that out. Great. So thanks a lot. Yep. We're going to hit end, and that'll be it. I love this dump truck way too much, and she's been really handy, and we've put some heavy things on her back, and I love fixing her. We're going to figure out what's up with Forth. I'd love to get a different transmission, get a few more gears in since we have such a narrow power band. But I don't know. We'll see. Honestly, I can get away without Forth right now. I can go 3 high to 5 low pretty easy as long as it's not on a hill. Maybe I'll just keep doing that. Anyhow, thanks for the time. We'll see you later. Bye.